Day, Ruskin enjoyers. Happy to know X, it's time for the 48-hour analysis. Basically, in this video, I'm going to look at all the skins this Rustor, this complete the sets Rustor, and I'm going to go ahead and do some comparisons with previous Rustor skins to get a good idea in regards to, well, how much each of these skins are likely to sell by next Thursday, and then knowing that, well, the question, are these skins still holding up to being perfectly fine investments, or are there any potential problems that you need to be aware of? So sit back and relax. I'm going to start yapping. So yeah, complete the sets 2026, an interesting variety of skins, a big Rustor. We might be here for a while. Just going to give you a heads up, just going to give you a warning. But yep, first ever skins accepted for an auto turret. Well, at least in a Rustor. We've got some interesting collection continuations, and quite literally the Knights Templar has been completed in regards to clothing and armor. But we've got some very interesting additions for Hellcore, Naval Camo. We have the return of Xenotype, at least for storages, I guess you could say. So that might open up some interesting situations. Oh, yes. Another armored double door, specifically from the From Hell collection. Oh. So yeah, overall, we've got some pretty cool looking designs. And of course, we also happen to have another skin that is the focused item of the month, a bolt action rifle. But this in particular, Heat Seeker with a transparent sight. Ooh. So let's also just quickly point out, this isn't specifically the first 24 hours of sales. I do apologise. But yeah, I got distracted. This is actually 25.5 hours in. Now, to be honest with you, I'm still going to be able to sit here, distinguish and figure out how much they're likely to sell by next Thursday. So, alright, cool, fair enough. But we might have a margin of error. I do apologise. I'm sorry. Right then, so shall we go ahead and look at the first 48 hours of sales? So, off we go. Boom. Now, I will point out specifically right now, I am recording a little bit later. But this quite literally, and over to here as well, as you'll see, yep. The numbers that you see here, the sales that you see here is 48 hours. I can confirm that. But the second I switch to another page and come back, it will update, okay? So I could duplicate this right now just to get the point across. And well, there you go. Yeah, see, it's updated itself. So I'm actually recording another 2 hours later, about 50 hours in. So, okay, cool. So let's just close this. Boom, back to 48. Right then. So in my predictions video, if you watched that, initially I was under the assumption that maybe this could be a tame store. More specifically in regards to total sales. With so many skins, well, chances are maybe people might be a little bit intimidated. I don't know. Considering the prices as well, let's also bring that up. $4 for an auto turret, $4 for a bolt action rifle, $4 for an armored double door. And then you got a sprinkling of $3 skins in here as well. I was very much under the impression maybe it's not going to be a super busy week. Maybe we're not going to see ridiculously high sales. I think I've got the point across. So anyway, based on that, I can confirm to you, I don't specifically think everything here is going to be quite tame. But it's not ridiculous. I don't think we'll have any super standout, crazy looking sales. Perhaps, potentially just one, we'll see. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, honestly, yeah, it seems to be quite reasonable, and I think that's all right for us, the Ruskin investors, because, of course, if we do see, like, the skin creators feeling reinvigorated and wanting to go back to these collections and trying to make some more skins, if we were to see collection continuations, all the better for them to rise up in price ever so nice in the future. Yeah. All right, cool. Right then, so, shall I jump in, look at all these skins, and make considerations in regards to how much they likely sell by next Thursday? I'm going to talk about both the auto turrets. So let's go ahead and talk about them. So what with them being a brand new skinnable, initially, like by default, when I hear we're getting a brand new skinnable, I'm going to assume that the sales are going to be pretty ridiculous. Now, of course, you might recall the Neon Electric Furnace, the first ever Electric Furnace skin to be accepted. That ended up with about 55,000 subscribers, didn't it? A ridiculous number. And yet, looking at both these turrets, again, maybe it's the designs, maybe it's the timing, who knows, but they did not have a ridiculous amount of sales initially. Like, just to remind you, the Neon Electric Furnace, they had about, 25,000 subscribers in the first 24 hours of sales? I'm not seeing that here. But more specifically, the Murder Hornets auto turret, an interesting yellow design, oh yes, lovely stripes and whatnot. 11,000, but then again, if we were to potentially deduct it a little bit, I reckon we could probably deduct by about 500 sales or subscribers. Okay, 10,500. What potentially could be the best thing to look at? Well, I was looking around, and I honestly think maybe the best thing to do is compare to the dead-end garage door, maybe even the tribal alloy sap, because, yeah, there isn't really anything to compare nicely to. So we'll try our best then. Let's go to the previous week, and we'll take a look. And as you'll see, 23,000 subscribers, 22,500 almost. Both of them are perfectly fine for what they were. Now, Murder Turret. Let's get a good look at you, fully up to date. I don't think that's going to match up specifically to around 23,000 subscribers. No. I think more specifically, that auto turret in particular could be reaching between 27 to 32,000 subscribers. Now, here's a good question to ask you, all right? I want you to comment below your response. Are you actively wanting and feeling the need to skin your auto turrets? Now, both of them don't really glow in the dark. More specifically, Murder Hornet, whilst it glows, it's in the section where the camera, like, you know, where the light sticks out, you know, the red light, blah, blah, blah. It has like a bit of a glow around that, which does look pretty cool. And it certainly opens the door for some potential scary auto turrets for Halloween this year. But, yeah, it's not like it makes it easier to spot and see. And again, at night time, they got the lasers. So, you know, I'm going to be keeping an eye on it, all right? But let's go ahead and remind you, you know, that's ridiculously high in terms of the sales. But what happened was it crashed and it burned far too much. Now, you might sit there and say, but what about like a pirate electric furnace? That worked out right. Yeah, but it also has a very interesting collection behind it. That's very in demand. And back over to here, looking at you, you don't have such a thing. And the reason why I bring that up is because we do have another auto turret to talk about in a second. But yeah, I'm a little bit cautious and unsure. Let's also point this out. Come on now. There's going to be a lot more auto turret skins being accepted. Twitch drops, kick drops, you name it. It's inevitable. So whilst that looks nice, and by all means, props to the skin creator. Congratulations with your absolutely wonderful looking design. Are we now going to start seeing Murder Hornet deplorables? Are there other things we could see? What Murder Hornet skins would you like to see? You know what? A doors. Give us a very angry looking face and a door. No one's going to be upset with that. That'd be fine. That'll be A-okay. So if it does develop into a deplorable collection, all right, you know what? That could work out nicely. Stabby, this is the part where you comment below right now and tell us what you're going to work on, all right? In fact, you know what we could do at the very least? Let's go to the workshop and let's go see. Has anyone... Oh, well, that's a lot of comments. That's a lot of comments. Let's see here. Look, let's just say I have reason to believe Stabby is... I'm sure he's going to make something, right? I didn't want to go through all those silly comments. I'm sorry. Sorry. But anyway, yes. 27 to 32,000 subscribers. Quite a lot. And I think, all right, cool. That's fine. But I think we're better off with a buy order. So we'll talk more about that when we do the abnormal buyers next week. Wednesday night. So now we move on and talk about the No Mercy auto turret. And, well, you know, I just sat here and talked about like a vast collection behind the pirate electric furnace, which gave it a nice boost and whatnot. And oh, what do we have here? That is a very vast collection indeed. It is the biggest collection in all of Rust. Say hello to the No Mercy collection. This is the collection with the most acceptances overall in all of Rust. So, okay, surely that means this is going to be A-okay, right? Well, at the very least, let's figure out the sales and whatnot. So, okay, yeah, let's go do that. So, looking at the first initial sales, or rather the first 25.5 thousand sales, what can we compare to? Well, I would like to sort of look and see how that was going, and also specifically here, I thought we could look at the Psycho hoodie and pants as a nice comparison, but also the week before, Thunder Gold tactical gloves, because I can't help but assume a lot of people might jump onto this towards the end. What do I mean by that? So I must reiterate, that is $4, and I'm not surprised to kind of sit here and see that maybe a lot of people might be a little bit, I don't know, intimidated by the price. Skin investors would, you know, like lots of people who like to just buy tons of skins and then hope to flip them at random in the future and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. If it was a lot more approachable, I think a lot of people would take a liking to that. Now, let's also point this out. The skin creators have been told quite literally, please don't make camouflage turrets, all right? Please don't make camouflage turrets. I don't think we're going to see a white turret being accepted. And yes, I'm fully well aware of like the space theme ones and whatnot. This might be the whitest turret you get being accepted. We'll see what the drops are in the future and whatnot, but do you understand what I'm saying? So again, just to reiterate, there are space station turrets out there. They are white. You've also got some regular normal looking designs. Do you understand? So yeah, something like that might not be allowed simply because it's white. But No Mercy, with it being white and black, I guess that gets the lenience. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not really expecting it to sell that much more. I do believe it's going to sell quite a fair bit less compared to Murder Hornet. And to be honest with you, in comparison to the Psycho Clothes, 14,000 here, and even those Thundergold gloves, over 20,000 here, I think more specifically it's going to probably end up closer to what the Thundergold tactical gloves did. I'm not sure if it's going to go all the way up to the same amount. I'm going to say 18 to 21,000 subscribers. And again, I kind of get the feeling a lot of people jump onto it at the very last second. That's what I'm thinking. Will it hold? Well, how many more auto turret skins do you reckon we're going to see over the course of this month and the rest of this year and in the further future? What do you reckon? That's a good thing to consider. So personally, I'm going to worry about that next Wednesday when I do the abnormal barders. Right then, moving on. We now have the boots, the gloves, and the bolt action rifle. So as of now, you might notice they're sitting quite comfortably. There's quite a bit of a distance between the gloves and the boots. Bolt action rifle, you're doing A-okay. So alright then, let's go ahead. Let's go find out what the perfect thing to compare to is. So I suggested that we could go pretty far back and do a comparison with the No Mercy electric furnace. I also considered that we could also maybe look at the Gothic Veil garage door. Quite a bit of a distance between these two, but looking at the skins over here, there's already quite a bit of a distance. So, alright, cool. Let's just go take a look. No Mercy electric furnace, just under 17,000 subscribers, and Gothic Veil garage door, just over 18,000 subscribers. So just to just want to reiterate this. There was a bit of distance between these two initially, and there's quite a fair bit more now. I reckon all three of these potentially could reach between 16 to 18,000 subscribers. Now, specifically talking about the Knights Templar boots and gloves, that slots in perfectly, and you know what? That honestly is a perfectly reasonable amount. Initially, I thought maybe the boots and gloves could end up being the lowest selling pieces amongst the full set here, but that's not going to happen now. But now I question, how many people out there are actively going to want to use this full collection? Because that's the main question to ask. So as long as it's in demand, those boots and gloves have a pretty interesting future ahead of them. I'd assume that they'll retain their value and still sell nicely. They could even become nice and profitable, aka much like all the skins here almost. So it's not going to be the lowest selling. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't feel that worried about them. It's got an interesting, unique design. We recently had the jacket. That's bounced up nicely as well. That's good to see. The only concern is, what else could be made that could now give these a boost? I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know, because all the core pieces are here. The jacket's there. Yeah. So maybe it never really goes up in price that much. It just steadily retains its value and just slowly goes up in value as time goes on. Maybe. And if that's all it can really do, does that honestly sound super interesting? That might be a bit of a concern. Sorry about my nose. Oh, whenever I talk, it just becomes plugged up. I don't know. Sorry. So anyway, yeah, the boots and the gloves. I'll vouch for them, and I'd say that, you know what, they do look as if they could retain in a further future and whatnot. That might look nice for some of you. I just kind of don't think they're going to be very profitable now. That's my current assumption. So we will talk more about that, of course, next Wednesday night. But I must reiterate, specifically the boots and the gloves, they are not abnormal. We don't have the time advantage, so that might be a bit of a concern. However, with the Heatseeker bolt action rifle, well, that's different. Now, let's also just quickly get the point across. This is the focused item of the month. There will be more bolt action rifles being accepted next week and the week after. And who knows, you might have a week where we have 2 bolt action rifles, right? So don't be surprised at such a thing. Now, looking at what we see here, I am under the impression, right, that with the higher price, it's definitely going to kind of scare off people. I mean, we just talked about this and whatnot. Maybe this does end up slowing down. Maybe these do end up surpassing it. Or maybe the interest in the boots and gloves do slow down. This ends up still getting a little bit more momentum and overlaps this. We'll see. But I believe a lot more people will be turning up to buy this later on. Maybe, most likely, on the Thursday. Because, yeah, I think a lot of people are going to start to notice that, okay, yeah, it's a high price, but not too many people are buying into it that much. And we did kind of see that with the pump shotgun. What was it, pump shotgun or was it double barrel? It was a pump, yeah. Pump shotgun sold for $3.49. It had hardly any sales. And after I saw that, after the barders, I thought, I've got to go ahead and buy, I got to buy some. It has slowly recovered a little bit. I honestly believe as time goes on, this will end up in the positive and will be appreciated. But this right here, the bolt action rifle, if you're potentially going to do between 16 to 18,000 subscribers, can I just quickly go ahead and find this out? Would that make you one of the highest ever selling bolt action rifles? And the answer is, kinda. It might end up becoming the 5th highest ever selling one. Now, what, 16 to 18,000? Yeah, apparently. But that also kind of gets the point across that we don't really see that many bolt action rifle skins being added per year. So, yeah, it's the focused item of the month right now. After that, I don't expect to see that many more of them being accepted for the rest of the year. I have no idea how many would even be noticed and accepted and brought in next year and the year after that and whatnot. I think with a potential scarcity on the horizon after the end of this month, I think it could then flourish. But let's just also point out, summer peaks are literally just around the corner. July, August time, that's where we tend to see prices reach brand new all-time high prices. But then afterwards, September, October, November, the dreaded autumn-fall seasonal dip, potentially the worst time for all skins where they tend to reach rock bottom prices, all right? So whilst we are expecting very nice time, like very nice things, literally in a few weeks' time, in a few months' time, it's going to get real bad. Yeah, I know. I don't mean to bring like fear into everybody, but I do have to make sure you're fully well aware of the scope of the situation, of what's likely going to be happening in the future. So, all right, cool, we got the point across. I'm looking at that with some positivity. It does look nice. And in comparison to all the bolt action rifles, I'm led to believe the only other ones with transparent sights are the drops that we have here. Hedge's bolt action rifle and Coco's bolt action rifle. I looked around, I didn't notice it in any of the other skins. If you do happen to know of some and I made a mistake, feel free to comment below. But as far as I'm aware, only these two have transparency. So, okay, cool. Maybe it gets carried because of that. Maybe we see a few more Heatseeker skins being accepted this summer in particular. Could we have Heatseeker 2? Heatseeker Summer... sorry, I said that the wrong way. Could we have Heatseeker Summer 2? Could we have Heatseeker 2026? Because last year, during the summer of 2025, we saw a lot of Heatseeker skins being accepted. There was a lot of momentum. There was a lot of interest. Lots of people very happy. And then, then we had a bit of a drought. But now it's coming back. Yay! So what weapon skin would you like to see being made next? I should point out, there are a lot of them on the workshop. There have been attempts for various options. But, yeah, Skin Creator has produced them. It's up to Face Punch at the end of the day if they want to accept them. So, okay, cool. We got the idea. We got the point. I'm looking at it with curious eyes, yes. I'm not sure what else is going to be accepted after this. I have seen some of the other submissions. I'm more behind this compared to them. So, yeah, this might sell quite a lot, but I feel like it's justified because the collection it's part of and whatnot, and with the transparency, with the pay-to-win features, I think people are going to be liking it, especially as time goes on. So, cool. Yep, 16 to 18,000 subscribers is the current estimate. Now we're going to group up the Cena-type mini-cards box, the Armored Double Door, and the Hellcore Tier 3. So, let's go ahead and do just that. Let's go ahead and do some comparisons. 5,800 all the way down to 5,142. I know there's quite a bit of a distance between these two, but I'd just like to pair them up together. So, okay, fair enough then. What are we going to compare to? I reckon we could just literally look at the previous week and look at the Sheep Metal Tier 2. But I think we could go to the week before that and also look at the Popstar Large Backpack. All right then. Well, let's go ahead and do just that. So with the previous week, we have the Sheep Metal Tier 2, and that only just about reached 10,000 subscribers. And of course, the week before that, Popstar Large Backpack, just over 13,000 subscribers. Now, of course, a lot of people waited until the last second and then jumped onto this. I was one of them. I bought a batch of them. I was very happy. Sweet, delicious profit was right there. Yes. But now, looking at these skins in particular, well, is everything still looking quite all right? Are there any concerns? So, let's get ready. Let's start yapping. So, specifically talking about the Cena-type mini-cards box, I'm just going to spare myself some time, all right? I'm going to sit here and point out I have made a video already talking about the possibilities. Perhaps we could have a return of the Xenotype collection and whatnot. It's all here, basically. Consider giving this a good watch. It's a bit rambly. It's a bit all over the place. But I was reminding everybody of what happened to the storage collections of the past, including the Xenotype storage collection, because it just kind of came out at a very awkward, not very fun time. Or rather, it finished at a very bad time. What do you mean, Hedge? Well, I'm sure you know. Right, anyway, let's go put that away. So, yes, I'm rolling the expectation that the Xenotype small box, the Armored Double Door, and the Hellcore Tier 3 very likely could be selling between 12 to 14,000 subscribers. Yeah, I looked at the Popstar backpack and the Tier 2. They didn't reach up to 14,000, but looking at the sales these are currently at, it wouldn't surprise me if they do a little bit better compared to the Popstar backpack. So, yeah, 12 to 14,000 subscribers for this in particular. That's a perfectly reasonable amount of sales. And if we do see a small box collection being developed from here, and let's go see if we got a response yet. Did the skin creator respond? No, he did not. Oh, dear. But I'm sure many of you are fully well aware. Lots and lots and lots of large boxes were accepted. This is the largest large box collection in all of Rust. Could we now see more small boxes? Could we see one of them appear this weekend? If I do see another small box being produced, I'm going to make a big fuss about it, all right? Okay, so, all right. 12 to 14 seems perfectly fine. If we were to see another small box being produced and accepted, I wouldn't be surprised if the second one and all the ones from there end up selling quite a fair bit more. Because then there's hype. Then there's like a lot more people interested and invested. So, all right, cool. Well, yeah, we're happy with that. Hellcore Tier 3. 12 to 14,000 subscribers. You know what? If that lines up perfectly with the hoodie and pants, which to be honest with you, it looks like it will. Like, if this ends up with 13,000 subscribers in comparison to the hoodie and pants here, which did about 12,500, like, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, there's a little bit more of this that compared to that, but it's not like dramatically more. And now, we question, are we going to see the Tier 2 armor being accepted? What do you reckon? What do you reckon? So, well, I personally have some high hopes, but it has been a while. Maybe this needs to be resubmitted, tweaked, changed. We'll see how it goes. But I will remind everybody, wasn't it the version 2? Yep, the version 2 was what was accepted here. Okay, I reckon the skin creator just needs to go back and do a little bit of changes to the Tier 2 perhaps, and then maybe it gets accepted as well. All right, we're all good. We're all happy. And that Tier 3 armor, with 12 to 14,000 subscribers, I honestly think it'll spike them on, spike a price ever so nice, exactly like the hoodie and pants did, which, as you'll notice, are currently about 50% up almost. They were almost double for a while. I'll just point that out. So they are in a very good spot. They are lining up quite nicely. All is good. Now, you might notice the Armored Double Door here has dropped off a fair bit. Yes, some other skins have overlapped it. All right, you know what? That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to be upset with that. Again, 12 to 14,000 subscribers for you, and it is part of a very, very large From Hell collection. Oh, well. But you also might notice not everything here is perfectly fine. Yeah, I'm sure you can see. Right, anyway. So, look at all the deplorables. We do have a lot of deplorables in this collection that are doing pretty sweet. But again, not everything is perfect. But I should also point out, earlier this year, the Armored Double Door was the focused item of the month. Now, looking at all of these, you might notice, oh, hang on a minute. They kind of improved. Huh. Okay, I guess people do happen to appreciate Armored Double Doors. Common Apotheosis of War. Can you improve, please? Can you do a little bit better? I reckon that will improve and do better as time goes on. Like, I should also point out 12,800, 10,000, 16,500. These didn't really sell too ridiculously. If this ends up with barely around 12,000 subscribers, you know what? That seems fine with me. I think that could work out quite all right. But then again, it's a $4 skin. It's got to try and keep up that price. I'm definitely sitting in the position of, you know what, I might just stick with a buy order. Try and see if I can pick them up for a cheaper price and then hopefully flip them for some profit in the future. Honestly, that's most likely how I'm going to go about it. Because it's a lot more risky jumping into a skin selling at a higher price. Nothing is a guarantee. All right? Nothing is a guarantee. You cannot just assume That's going to be perfectly fine due to a lack of sales. And again, I said it earlier, whilst we have the summer peaks expecting to happen in just a few weeks' time, after that, it's the autumn fall seasonal dip. And I have seen some very interesting armoured doors and armoured double doors in the past suffer real bad around October time. So, alright then, we get the point, we understand. So, it looks appealing, but maybe it's better to look at it literally like on the night of Wednesday, or more specifically on the Thursday, and then consider what to do next, alright? Let's get those barders done first, and then we'll question what to do next. Alright, cool. Right then. So next up, I want to go ahead and I want to talk about the electric furnace and the sleeping bag. So yeah, molten visage electric furnace, sleeping bag over to here. Let's go ahead and figure out what are we going to compare to. So 5,400, 5,400. Let's say we could potentially deduct by about 500. So let's just go to about 5,000. I reckon we could just quite literally go ahead and maybe look at like, you know what? Considering that this is now basically matched up and surpassed some of the skins here, I thought we could just kind of lower it compared to what we just saw a second ago. Like, even I was just basically looking at the No Mercy axe from the previous week and just thinking, oh, we could just look at that. But yeah, I'm going to work my way around what we just talked about with the previous batch of skins. I should point out, this only managed to get about 9,000 subscribers. I think that's too little. Looking at the current progress with what we have here, this and this, in comparison to what we just discussed with the small box, the tier 3, and the armoured double door, I think the sleeping bag and the electric furnace are likely going to do between 11 to 13,000 subscribers. Now, considering what's happened to this, well, maybe that'll end up with about 12,000 subscribers, and the sleeping bag and the furnace might end up with about 12,500. We'll see, okay? But yes, they have surpassed one notable skin, of course. But are they actually in demand? Are they going to be doing perfectly fine? I will sit here and say I am expecting a lot more electric furnaces for the foreseeable future. I'm not sure if we've got like Twitch drops and kick drops on the horizon, but it wouldn't surprise me. Like, it really wouldn't surprise me. Skins like this, they can have some pretty cool looking designs, some very flashy designs, yes. So it wouldn't surprise me if something like this does end up getting a special drop. And of course, with the training bag, it doesn't glow in the dark. It's basically almost a pure black bag. I can't help but assume a lot of people would greatly appreciate this. So yeah, great for outdoors basically. In some shade, even better. So right then, let's go ahead and figure out how much you're likely to sell. 11 to 13,000. I think we already said that. Anyway, yes. I think the sales are fine. I'm just not 100% sure that it's going to retain like perfectly. Like at $1.49, I will sit here and say, selling at the standard price, and then, of course, with it not being abnormal, I think this could work out quite all right. I think it's going to be okay. I don't imagine it's going to be dramatically going up in price anytime soon, but I also can't really imagine it's going to crash and burn. I'm not expecting you to sell ridiculous amounts, and wow, this, just to remind you, this sold next to nothing, and that worked out quite all right. This also has like a collection behind it that's, you know, what helps it being appreciated. Training Collection has a, you know, collection behind it, but it doesn't have any other deplorables. Maybe we'll start seeing deplorables from here now. We'll see again, as in more. But yes, the collection's kind of like 50-50. The weapons, but the clothing and armor, ooh. So I think it'll retain. I just don't really expect it to do that much more. So that'll be more of a discussion, of course, when we talk about it again on Wednesday night when we're doing the abnormal barders. But just to reiterate, sleeper bag, you're not abnormal. Electric furnace is, but priced at $3 and with a lot more on the horizon. I'm not looking at you with a lot of enthusiasm. Not to sound mean, it's nice to see us selling reasonably. It's just, realistically speaking, it wouldn't surprise me if it does drop off. Sorry to say, but yeah, okay. I think the jacket was actually supposed to be part of the sleeping bag and the electric furnace. I'm sorry about that. Naval camo jacket. You're currently sitting here at 8,300 subscribers. And, well, you know what? Okay. You're probably going to sell barely 11,000 subscribers, maybe. Maybe a little bit more. Who knows? Maybe it does go all the way up to 13,000 subscribers. Maybe it gets a sudden burst of interest on the final day. Now, why would that happen? Because it looks as if it's going to sell the absolute lowest in comparison to all the other naval camo skins. Oh. Interesting. This is the first ever, like, well, in my opinion, proper blue jacket. We have had some blue designs in the past, But, well, I mean, you got that one. That's a boring blue. This one's camo. Part of the naval camo collection. They're not reflective. They're not shiny. I was very much expecting that this was going to have an interesting summer. And right now, I can confirm to you the tier 3 is doing good. The boots and gloves are doing good. The backpack's retaining, and the hoodie and pants are still doing okay. Still surprised to see the tier 2 is in such a way, but it's got tons of listings because it came out during the Easter dip. Tons of listings that never got removed, and it's going to take a while for that to really properly recover. Anyway, so, okay. If that ends up becoming the lowest selling skin amongst the whole collection there, don't you think it might work out quite nicely? If we're expecting good times, if we're expecting it to work out nicely? I've got to sit here and say I've definitely got my eye on that one. I'm very much curious about that. It's looking like it's selling far too little, and I don't think we're going to see a blue jacket like that ever again. We'll see. So that's a discussion for Wednesday night. That is abnormal. I might be chasing after that mainly. That might be the priority I'll be chasing after. Now I'll talk about the militarized furnace. Sorry about getting the mistake there. So, with the militarized furnace, it is part of a military collection. For some strange reason, Face Punch referred to it as militarized. That did confuse some people. In fact, let me just quickly go ahead and point out in the past, we've had the military skins from La Cramp, and that's what it's referring to. So yeah, if you got a little bit confused by that, just want to refer to the fact that it is part of the military collection. They just changed the name. I don't know why. So, in regards to the militarized furnace, I thought maybe the best thing to compare to might be the Abyss SKS. So I'll go ahead and get a good look at that. And when we get a good look at that, we'll see it just was under 10,000 subscribers. So looking at the furnace, I reckon that's going to do between 9 to 11,000 subscribers. I'm not fully convinced it's going to be all right. It's got an interesting sort of green camouflage design to it, but it's always emitting its own light. It's always going to be visible. You're going to be able to hear it. Don't assume you can hide this or anything. No, come on now. I don't think it stands out enough for it to retain its value. I kind of would be surprised if it just suffers. We've had lots of furnaces over the years, and you might notice we've got lots of furnaces that are down in price and struggling and suffering. And because that militarized furnace doesn't really stick out that much, I'm not feeling super confident with it. I'm a fair bit concerned. Yeah. So, oh dear, oh no. Oh boy. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And so of that, yeah. I'm not feeling confident. Maybe I'll just stick with a Barda. Problem is, it's also not abnormal. Oh, great. So, yeah, we'll have to talk about that quite a fair bit. But to be honest with you, I don't really expect it to do much. I might just look at it and say, whatever, I'll offer this and I'll move on with my life. Yeah, I'll just move on with my life. Okay, sure, let's not ramble too much. Now we have the Cell Custom SMG, that particular hunting bow, and this bamboo cage ridge. Now, when I looked at these particular skins, I thought to myself, okay, well, 2,900, 2,700, 2,600, we could probably deduct it a fair bit. Maybe the smartest thing to compare to would probably be the Toy Salvage Axe. Okay, well, fair enough then. Let's go ahead and do just that. So off I go, over to here. How far back do I have to go? I don't remember. Where is it? Is it over here? There we are. Okay. 6,000 subscribers. Now, looking at these particular skins right now, 4,700, 4,500, 4,200. You know what? I think they will reach 6,000 subscribers, but I think in particular they're going to probably do between 6,000 to 7,000 subscribers. Looking at the custom SMG, I reckon it might potentially get close to 7. So, all right, cool. That's fine. Is everything all right still, though? Well, custom SMG skins, unless they have transparency, I don't really expect much from them, I'm sorry to say. Thunder Gold's actually managed to go back up into the positive. All right, that's cool, but it's a white design. Okay, maybe people prefer that. I mean, that's cool, but yeah, I'm sorry to say I don't expect this to do A-OK. I know some people might sit here and say, oh, but it's green, right? It's green, it's green, it's green. It's not like a perfect green, and it does have some orange to it as well. I don't hate it. It's just I can tell people don't like the weapon that much, and I don't feel very confident with it. So, okay, fair enough. This particular hunting bow, funnily enough, it's got some transparency to it. Yes, can you see it right there? Yeah. In-game, it looks a bit weird. But anyway, regardless, it's an interesting look and design, part of a collection that's proven to be very successful with many acceptances, and we do happen to have a furnace right there. We could see a collection continuation, although personally I prefer to see some tier 2 and some hoodie and pants. I don't think that's going to be splendid. I don't think that's going to be doing amazing. Whatever. I don't think it's going to get remembered that much, especially when you consider looking at the collection and you're like, oh wow, you know, we had that particular pump shotgun pumping our, and yet it still went down in price. So I don't feel confident, I'm sorry to say. And then we had the bamboo cage fridge. You know what? This might be pretty interesting. I know very well that these particular skins have been utilised as interesting barricades of sorts. You can see through them. Yeah, you could quite literally stick a cannon through a locker, still aim the cannon, still see reasonably fine, shoot the cannon, yeah. But if you get shot at, yep, the locker absorbs the damage. What? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So that's working out quite all right. Could the same be done with a fridge? What takes more damage, a fridge or a locker? Silver Spooks, you have a job to do. Right, anyway, so that's cool. And, you know, I should remind people there's also the barbecue as well. Wow. It's not the first time we've seen a fridge with transparency. And the ones we've had before didn't exactly do super amazing. I mean, only 6,000 subscribers potentially, though, Hedge. Only 6,000 subscribers compared to 7,400 and 7,700. Part of me still thinks it'll just go down in price. But then again, if Mr. Silver Spooks figures out something with this, that's going to go up in price. That's going to go up in value. Oh boy, I don't know. Oh, sorry about that. I don't care for the news. I care about the Ruskins. So, yeah, I'm confident that probably might be a pretty interesting sort of situation. But with the high price of $3, it's like, maybe it could just stay there for a while. I'm not sure if that's going to be doing any good for a while. There's also the question of how many more fridges we're going to see this year. Well, it's considerably less compared to the momentum we had by this point last year. But if I don't feel confident, if I don't really have it, like if I don't feel like I have lots to say, and if I have lots of positive things to say, it's just okay. Maybe I'll just play it safe. So we'll discuss that more on the night we do the abnormal barders. So all right, yeah, that's cool. That's everything. Sorry if it got a bit rambly, but there was a lot to consider and a lot to remember. But we still managed to get this under 40 minutes. All right, that's cool. Let's just quickly point out the player count. Player count's been good today. Yeah, no complaints. Lots of people turned up. It's all right. Not sure what type of update we're going to have next month. Keep an eye on the commits. You'll be seeing a lot more interesting new things being mentioned. I kind of won't be surprised if we actually see the apartment complex being ready for next month. I'm kind of expecting that now. I should also point out brand new glowing wallpapers are being worked on. I don't fully know what this is going to be for. Part of me assumes maybe it's like another surprise charity thing. We'll see what becomes of that. Anything else to say, Hedge? I mean, I could point out in the workshop there's some interesting skins that have been submitted. We've got Wild Hunt Wooden Double Door, Fish Boonie Hat. Some interesting skins, yes indeed. Get a good look at them. Keep an eye on the workshop. Some interesting potential collection continuations could be appearing. Could we see anything notable from what we see here? Could we see certain collections being revitalized? And then, of course, you know, getting a lot more skins produced and accepted, and then the collections develop and then they become a whole lot more valuable and in demand. Got to keep an eye out. Sorry to say. Now, I should also point out and say, have you noticed, or rather, have you seen the values of your skins improving? I'm always keeping an eye out. I'm always looking. But Heatseeker MP5 is a good shout. There's so many of these in circulation. But the transparent aim sight is ridiculous. It's very pay to win. And I do believe this has reached a brand new all-time high price right now. Yep, that has reached a brand new all-time high price. But I don't think I'll be moving that much more because other people are being incredibly smart. And yes, typical. So maybe start looking at your skins right now, look at your inventories and start making considerations because maybe now might be a good time to sell. Start looking, start considering. Right, so, yep, that's pretty much everything that needs to be said. Yep, I'm happy. And like I said, if you'll stay informed in regards to the potential of Xenotype and a potential return and whatnot, the video's right there. I think I'm good. Right, sweet. So, thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Maybe I could just quickly point out, if you've heard me saying abnormals over and over and over again and you're still confused, just consider watching the abnormal bard as I did on June 11, 2026 with the last week's batch of skins. I'll give you a quick little spoiler. By the end, I realised, you know what, I do need to jump in and buy some of those skins. That I did. But what were they? Well, consider watching. Or at the very least, watch the first 5 minutes, skip ahead to the actual Bardas chapter, and then listen to what I say in regards to abnormal Bardas support. When I discuss abnormal Bardas support, I'm figuring out what actually looks to be perfectly fine to just buy straight from the Rust store. And I'll be doing the exact same thing all over again with the current Rust store that we just talked about. Estimates of sales are in the description with the chapters. Consider giving that a good look, and I'm done. Thank you very much for watching me. I greatly appreciate it. Catch you later. Say goodbye.